Hello, this is Albert R. Hartley coming to you live from Chesapeake, Virginia. I'm wearing the, I told Melissa I was wearing the Little House in the Prairie collection shirt today. Typically I'm in black, but I was feeling bright and springy. So I want to talk about two things today. One is a really cool loan collapse, deal that didn't go through in California, which I think is really interesting. But the first thing I want to talk about is, look at this. Regulators face heat on foreclosure reviews. Hey, I just want to talk about my relevance to the real estate market. I talked about this, I want to say 3 weeks ago, maybe a week ago, where the regulators stopped investigating the bank foreclosure process. Well, Elizabeth Warren, who is now asking certain questions like, why did you guys stop? What's going on? She's been told, we're not disclosing that information to you. And we won't tell you what we found because that's private information. Really? So we're not going to disclose what was going on in the banking industry because now that they've settled it, they're trying to put those away. So I'm going to tell you right now, the banks, really smart, they knew this was a major problem for them. They knew this was going to hamper them in moving forward. And I'm not saying that the settlement was a bad idea because I think at some point you got to move forward. But something's up in Denmark, okay, because they're clearly not telling her. I think one of the guys, they said if we had to do it over again, we'd take a different approach. Well, what is that supposed to mean? This is one of the biggest crises in the history of the United States, and you flub it. So something's up. I mean, I think you got to basically assume that the banks came and put pressure with their lobbyists. They paid off the fines. They said, look, let us move forward. I'm not sure, based on the fact that consumers are only getting a certain portion of these monies, that this was just not a whole ruse to get the thing swept under the rug so the banks can go back doing business as normal. So anyway, that's my take on that. I think there's something stinky there. Clearly everybody's greasing palms as far as I'm concerned, but we'll leave that to another day. This is interesting. Lennar Homes was trying to close a $1.7 billion loan with a Chinese bank, and the Chinese bank went MIA at the last minute and didn't close it. This is with Lennar, which is a very large house builder out in Southern California. There was two big, huge subdivisions. $1.7 billion is a lot of money for real estate. And there's two things about this article that I think are interesting. Number one, Lennar was looking for foreign money, which tells me that none of the banks in the United States wanted to fund it. Number two, the Chinese's greed for United States real estate is just getting to be boundless. They want real estate here for some reason. And I think that's a really bad sign to be loaning that much money into the U.S. economy. What's fascinating to me is I don't think they could pull it off because they backed out at the very last minute, and Lennar's still going forward, just different phases. When you start loaning $1.7 billion, that goes back to the whole phrase of, if I borrow $100 from the bank owns me. If I borrow $1 billion from the bank, I own the bank. And I think it's really interesting that Lennar tried to get that loan from them. This deal was almost done as far as it looks like from the article, and they were ready to do a huge, I think it was 12,500 homes, which is a huge subdivision. So, hey, there may be some good news there in the market. They may think the market's there for that many homes, and they may think that that type of funding would have been, paid off. But the reality of it is, something's going on in the Chinese banking market and banking industry. If you look at some of the other articles and reports, I think there's some weakness in the Chinese economy that's being masked. And the fact that they backed off on this loan, maybe they couldn't fund it. So anyway, take a look at those two articles. I'd love some feedback on them. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks.